They always said I'm wrong, but what they doing today? I think they want me gone, but I ain't going away. They told me I was wrong, but look at my ass today. Da 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 da.
Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Tim, he's KJ. This is a real sports talk. You can hit me up on Twitter at CashKelly_TRST, KASH Kelly_TRST. And what's your Twitter?
17devil17.
And you can also check us out at therealsportstalk.wordpress.com. Today, we're here to talk about a pretty serious issue, though, the Penn State sanctions. I'm a big Penn State fan. KJ's an Ohio State fan. So I guess you'd say I'm a bit of a biased perspective, even though in this case I'm not really going to be that. And KJ is sort of an unbiased, even though Penn State and Ohio State are somewhat rivals. And he's been through something similar with the sanctions to his team. Obviously not with the Jerry Sandusky scandal, but you get my point. If you did not read the Freeh Report, or at least have some understanding of that report last week, it's tough for you to really understand why these sanctions needed to happen. But if you understand that, then we'll read you off these sanctions, give our thoughts. But I think in general that they weren't as harsh as they could have been, but they were harsher in certain ways, and I thought they would be. So the sanctions that they got, and they were considered unprecedented, were a 4-year bowl ban. And it's kind of interesting how that's going to work out, because we know they're going to the playoff system next year. They still will have some bowls, but not as many. They're getting a reduction of 10 initial scholarships, so that is for this year, and then 20 total scholarships for the next 4 seasons. That's really going to hurt them and the entire athletic program across the board. $60 million fine, even though I wrote $60 million fine. $60 million fine Penn State will get. It's a really big fine, but I think that they can afford to pay that with the money that they have made off the football program for all these years. Fortunately, that money might not continue to come through. And then also, all current players on the Penn State roster can transfer immediately without having to have that 1 year where you have to sit out to go to another school. So, just initially hearing those, what is your thoughts?
I mean, hey, anytime you get penalties like that, it's rough. And the thing that I'm taking out of this is, you know, it really sucks for Penn State, because all those people that were the problem there and caused this issue and the reason that they're getting these penalties, they're not even there anymore. They don't have to suffer. They're suffering jail time or other things like that. But now this university has to suffer all these things, lose scholarships, which is always a huge deficit to any team. If you lose that many scholarships over 4 years, that's huge. Players, people aren't going to want to go there. Even for academics, people aren't going to want to go there. For the name that they have, the rep that they're going to have, even though it was just one man who did horrible things, and that's completely in the past.
And a few other guys that covered it up, unfortunately.
Yeah, who covered it up, yeah. It's going to hurt that team emotionally, physically, because they're not going to have the willpower, they're not going to have the people to be there that they would have had if this didn't happen.
All that being said, and I do understand what you're saying. What happened was sick, and if they're going to penalize... Really, I understand the part about the people now weren't really the ones that made the mistakes in the past, but unfortunately that's what happens in college sports. The people at Ohio State weren't Jim Trussell, where they were buying players. The people at USC, Lane Kiffin now, was not Pete Carroll, where he was committing some of the infractions that he made. And, you know, throughout the entire other programs that have seen penalties, maybe not quite that big, but they kind of have to deal with it. In this case, I think that while people like to say that this was not a football issue, it really revolved around the football team and covering up to keep the football team looking better. And also, if you didn't do it here, how can you possibly say that, oh, this guy had a few too many hours recruiting, or this guy sold his jersey for a tattoo? How can you say that that's worth a suspension or anything, and then just leave this go?
Yeah, it's true. If you just left this go, and we're not saying that left this go would have been, to me, a smaller penalty, because if you didn't give something this big to something of this nature, then you're not humanly right in your head to begin with.
Yeah.
So this is just an awful tragedy all around. Everything that happened is just completely just horrible. It just really takes you back, and it makes you realize that, you know, some people in this world are just sick. But the penalties that happen are completely fair in my eyes. They're completely fair to the University of Penn State. They have to deal with it, clean up the mess that Sandusky, Paterno, and the rest of the guys left behind. and they're going to have to pick up and leave off after the next 4 years, and hopefully by 2020, once they start getting all their restrictions lifted, there will be a good football team. Hopefully, I mean, maybe not. They may never recover from this.
Yeah.
It depends. It's all about the university rep. If you took away USC's, all these restrictions to a USC or Ohio State or Michigan or places like that, they may not recover too. It's not just because it's Penn State. It's any university. You take away all these things for that many years.
But USC is going to recover from their thing because it was a little recruiting thing, and they still have some good players that stayed on. It was only a 2-year bowl ban for them, so even Matt Barkley did stay on as quarterback when I thought that it would have been a much smarter move for him to transfer to a place where maybe you get more exposure. But he's done a really nice job there. And my point is with that the people there know that they're going to have a chance to win with this school. With Penn State, you just don't know because it's a completely new regime. Bill O'Brien, former Patriots offensive coordinator, coming in. It's a completely new regime. And over the next 6 years, if Penn State drops to a team that annually goes 6-6, then you're right, that they may never recover. Now, we talked about whether this is fair to the players or coaches. I think that I don't want to say that it is fair to the players or coaches, but it's just kind of something that they have to deal with. The players especially have a chance to transfer away, and that sucks for especially like the seniors, because either they're not going to get to go to a bowl game in their senior year or compete for the Big Ten title, both really, or they have to transfer somewhere else where they haven't put their heart and soul on the line for the last few years, and that sucks.
And they're not even guaranteed a spot. They could get, they may not understand the offense or defense depending on where they are, or special teams or whatever it is they do. They might not understand that way of doing it at another place, that different offense or whatever it may be.
And it's not pro sports. In college sports, you train yourself to think that you're going to be there throughout your entire time and that you pretty much have a spot. Well, if you leave Penn State and go to I don't know, let's just say Ohio State, you might not like it as much. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Penn State fan. I don't like Ohio State, but I'm just saying it. The experience at one school is different from one person to another, and it kind of kills the experience for those people. I know a lot of Penn State freshmen that are just going there partially because of their love for the football program, just to watch it and enjoy it, and they're never going to get to see a bowl game there. They're probably not going to even get to see great teams because initially we're going to see a lot of people transfer away. And I think when we get to like 2 or 3 years from now, you'll start to see some better recruits maybe come back a little bit because they know by the time that they're actually playing and not redshirted anymore, that they're pretty much going to be able to play in bowl games. But for these initial first few years, the people that are going to Penn State now, they're not going to get to see bowl games. So you understand that. And a lot of people are killing the students there, the student body, for their reaction to this because they're acting like in dismay and shock, and they're saying that it's almost like that Penn State just doesn't get it. That's not it. That's a national perspective. The people there obviously get it, but part of your experience, especially in a big college football university, is the football team. There's people that go there just for the football team. That just the experience. Maybe you don't even really care about football. Maybe you were a cheerleader for the football team. Maybe you just don't even really care about the football team. You like going to the games just for the experience of being around everyone. And you're still going to get to go to the games, but it's not going to have the same experience. It's understandable for people to be acting this way and be really disappointed that throughout their time at the school, there's no one currently enrolled at Penn State that is going to get to see that team play in a bowl game in their tenure at the school. So it's really disappointing while you're at the school that you don't get that opportunity.
Yeah, it does stink. I mean, I've been to Beaver Stadium. I've seen PSU play. I've been part of the whiteouts there. I've been part of the atmosphere. I've gone to games there, and it's been fun. I watched those games. It was amazing. It was a great time. But now I don't want to say it's never going to be the same. But if you're going to go to watch a game, it's not, I mean, no bowl games. There's no really goal after the regular season for Penn State anymore for the next 4 years, and there's not going to be the same excitement. People may shy away from the games. They may not even want to go because they don't want to be a part of something that once was a horrible tragedy. They may not want to. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point too. Basically, Penn State's going to be playing JV sports for the next 4 years there. And I understand, and a lot of people have brought this up, that you can't suspend this because of the impact it has on the rest of the school, the impact it has on the rest of the athletic program, the local businesses. But this is bigger than all that, and you had to do something. If you did not do this, then, or even if you just did everything on this and took away that 4-year bowl ban, it would have been ridiculous. Really, Penn State is lucky that they're not banned from TV. That is something that a lot of people talked about, that they would have a 4-year TV ban or however long. I don't know.
And they get no cuts from the bowl games or anything, or the Big Ten championship.
But now that I believe they will, they're going to stay in the Big Ten, and there was actually a little bit of question about that. I didn't really think that there was much that was going to come of it, that possibly Penn State would be kicked out of the Big Ten. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, but I mean, I guess we'll stay tuned with that. With the statue that came down yesterday as well, essentially the same thing. Penn State needed to take down that statue, and the university president said a good thing, that it stood for something that was just becoming a lightning rod, and they're going to keep the library in Paterno's name because, as the university president said, it shows the excellence that Joe Paterno did have. But the statues taken down, all the players that were around him taken down. So it's going to be a long recovery period, and essentially you would expect that Penn State from here on out is just kind of going to act like the last 50-some years where Joe Paterno was the coach here didn't happen.
Yeah, which is what they have to do. That's the first step, and that statue was the first step. They needed to basically not erase the past, because you can't forget things like that, obviously, because if you forget, then that's when new problems arise. But they have to, start picking up where they left off. They have to start, rebuilding, and that's basically what it's going to be for the next 4 years and maybe beyond. It's a good start. And like you said, that statue was it was a lightning rod. It just attracted attention every time I thought about the statue. What I thought about was Jerry Sandusky and the whole issue. So getting rid of that is going to get rid of more conversation about the situation. So I think it was a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a blog about this the other day on the website. Essentially, Joe Paterno was a great man, but he made too great of a mistake for that statue to stay up, because whether it was meant this way or not, obviously it wasn't meant this way when they put it up, it symbolized something that was really awful, and they could not leave that statue up. I mean, that's basically what you get. Another penalty that I forgot to mention is that they will have all of Joe Paterno's wins vacated from '98 to 2011, when he originally found out that about the Jerry Sandusky thing, or when he was informed of it and essentially did nothing, or he told someone but he really helped to, in the end, cover this whole thing up. So I don't really have an issue with that, because Joe Paterno is the winningest coach ever, and this takes away that title, but I still kind of remember him that, and I watched the game where he won his 400th win, so I don't look at this and say, oh, that didn't count, that didn't happen. I mean, you can vacate things, but in the end, USC still won the 2005 national title, and the vacated things really don't mean a ton.
Yeah, it's just, it needed to be taken away because it was the right thing to do. It's if you didn't do that, or I'm not going to say if you didn't do that people would have been mad, but obviously people were mad that they did take away the wins, but it was the right thing to do. It was the right decision. But I mean, obviously things are always going to be remembered, like you said, like USC winning 2005 title, and then it's still what happened. But it's the vacated part is the right thing to do. That's basically all that means.
Alright, so leave your thoughts below about the Penn State issue. Follow me on Twitter at CashKelly_TRST, and what's your
17devil17.
And then follow us on therealsportstalk.wordpress.com, and we'll see you guys later.